They taught us the mask was for our protection, but we're finding out that true safety starts when we take it off. I'm Gerron Scott, and this is Black and Diagnosed. This is a sanctuary for the mind, a space built for those navigating the world with labels like ADHD, bipolar, anxiety, and depression. We're moving past the clinical whispers to have honest conversations about our lived reality. Pull up a seat, catch the vibe, and join us in the garden.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Marcus, and I'm Black and Diagnosed. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So, what is one song that immediately makes you feel like you're back home or inside yourself, no matter where you are?
One song. Do Better by Absol.
Okay, I never heard that song.
Yeah.
What is it about?
So if you're familiar with Absol, from TDE, I personally think he's the best rapper in Top Dog Entertainment. But he's not very radio friendly. So this song in particular is about him kind of coming to grips with his own depression, how he almost successfully committed suicide, but he didn't do it. He's still here. And so I gotta do better. I gotta do better for me. I gotta do better for my loved ones. And I always think about that song because there's the second verse says, shades over my face, hoodie over my head, hiding from the same world that made me who I am. Depressed, can't even get out of bed, too blessed to be so stressed. And it's crazy because during my worst depressive episode, I had accidentally broken my glasses, and all I had were my prescription shades. And so I had on shades. I was often wearing hoodies. I couldn't get out of bed. And I don't know, man. The song it showed up right when I needed it. So yeah, that's for sure an all-time favorite.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But also, how many songs can I say?
You can say as many songs as you want.
All right. Okay. What You Need by Kentronada and Charlotte Nate Wilson. You know that one?
I am a huge K Tronada fan.
All right. So you know how groovy and bouncy that shit is. So yeah, that's just it's just groovy, man. I love it so much. What else? Breaking the Habit by Linkin Park. That song just reminds me of childhood. Linkin Park's been my favorite band for damn near my whole life, and I finally saw them live last summer. It was amazing. But yeah, I love that one too.
Perfect. Fun fact, me and my cousin, we went to the K Tronada concert in Atlanta, and we had some nosebleed seats, but we ended up just sneaking down to the 100 sections, and just everyone was standing up, so we just stood up with everyone.
Nice.
We thought about going down to the floor seats, but we were like, no, let's not push our luck too much.
Sure.
But that concert was so phenomenal, and it's crazy because he's just spinning his tracks.
I know.
But his energy is so phenomenal.
I agree.
And he played Witchy.
Love it.
Like Witchy Eye.
Love it.
That song just gives me so much energy. I don't know what it is about that song. So What is something that you just love doing when you're not being productive? Just like, I'm just going to do nothing. What is your do nothing ritual?
Oh, watch basketball, yell at the TV. I love hoops. Um, I played hoops in middle school. I didn't play for any like teams in high school or in college or nothing like that. But I didn't go to open gym and stuff. But yeah, I love the NBA. I love the WNBA. I love the Olympics. Uh, I don't like college ball as much, but I love March for the big tournament. Uh, because the tournaments let me know who's coming to the league and who's not. I don't know, man. There are too many teams for me to catch up in all of it. So I will wait until March. Um, so yeah, you're catching me at the right time. I think March basketball is the best, and then also Christmas Day in mid basketball is the best because it's just like it starts at noon and it's just nothing but hoops all day, and you get that warm, fuzzy feeling. If you like the holidays, you know, I think that's the perfect way to spend my Christmas morning or afternoon. Less about gifts. I'm old, you know what I'm saying, 33. I would love a gift from now on, be nice, but if we can just, you know, yell at the TV, I'm good. That's all I need.
All right, let's jump into this. So let's share a little bit of your diagnosis.
Okay. Which one? Which ones?
Which ones do you want to start with?
All right. So I'm diagnosed with a form of myositis called necrotizing myopathy. Basically, I have extreme muscle weakness, and especially in my shoulders and my hips and my core and in my throat. And I was misdiagnosed for about 5 years with muscular dystrophy. So I went untreated, and so during that time I lost a lot of muscle mass. So I use a power wheelchair to get around now. I can't lift my arms above my head. Uh, I ended up having to move home to Cleveland with my family because the first time we ever talked, I was living in LA. And I had to, I ended up having to move home with my family because of it. Shout out to Cleveland Clinic. They literally saved my life. I almost died due to malnutrition and all the above and pneumonia. I got pneumonia pretty badly. So that's my main diagnosis for sure. It's changed the way I see the world. It's changed my way I view myself and my place in the world. For sure. Also diagnosed with major depression. Shout out to Zone Loft. Zone Loft keeps the darkness at bay. Yeah, man. It is what it is, and it's tough, but man, nobody said life's gonna be fair, right? So, ball on top.
So with the misdiagnosis, how did that feed into the depression? Then what happened when you had the appropriate diagnosis?
Oh man, it fed into it because for a long time I was just kind of waiting around to die because They said there was no treatment, no cure. Just don't get tight. Stay loose. Keep stretching. And little by little, I'm just losing more and more of myself. It was to the point that people couldn't understand what I was saying when I was speaking because my voice was so weak and muffled. I still think I have a slight slur, but I am sounding a lot better than I was a few years ago. The having the right diagnosis for sure helped, because at first I didn't even believe it. I just thought that, maybe they misdiagnosed me again, because it's just a human error. I'm just glad that the meds that they tried on me helped. And if anything, stabilized what I got. So I don't concern myself with trying to gain anything back. I feel like I'm too far gone. I'm really more concerned with maintaining what I have because, I'm 33. I'll be 34 this year, and I know that I'm relatively young, but I know that as you get older, your body just starts to change, and things are just gonna get harder. So maintain what I have while I have it, and swallow my pride, and ask for help when I need it. That's the hardest part. I hate it. I hate it, but I'm doing it. I am asking for help. It's whack. It's so terrible, but I'm doing it.
Let's talk about that dark place.
Sure.
When you're in that dark place, oftentimes we hear that just get out of it, push through. You can do it. Just get up, get out of bed. And how do you react to those type of comments?
Great assault. Just know that it's well intentioned. Intentions don't always help everybody, but I know often people don't know what to say, so they just try to say anything. Sometimes you don't have to say anything. Sometimes you can just be. Cause I don't always need a pep talk, Sometimes I just need you to hear me. That being said, sometimes I'm saying that to myself, and sometimes I just gotta numb out, watch something silly, some stand-up comedy or some cartoons or whatever. Keep it light. I do my best to keep it light around the house. Like, I live with my parents and my grandmother, and my grandmother especially is of that generation that always watches the news no matter what every day. And I know that she just wants to be informed, but I also can see how it just depresses her, just a lot of bad news, because bad news is sensational. It gets views, it gets clicks, so they always start with the most horrifying stories, and it's good to know, but it's also good to know when you need to just unplug, walk away and come back to it, because I promise there'll be more bad news tomorrow. You know,
Yeah.
they do this every day. So like, if we want to get mad, we can get mad tomorrow. Like when we're done, we can be mad for 30 minutes, but let's watch Wheel of Fortune. You know, just like, yeah, just keep it light. And it helps me too. Like before I lost a lot of my my muscle mass, I was a DJ, so I play a lot of music in the house, and I always try to put my grandma on the stuff I know that she's never seen or never heard, and to make her watch shows she's never seen. For example, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Do you know that one? Are you familiar?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Larry David, you legend. I think my grandma just likes seeing somebody in her age group being as silly as he is, but she wouldn't have seen him without me. So, hey man, if I can put her on a silly stuff like that, then I'll like wean her into like stuff like the Boondocks, you know, and then like Atlanta, you know, like push the limits a little bit. See, like, and it's great because often it's like me and my grandmother. We have our own code, and we have like we're like a gang, and my mom says, because like we have like inside jokes and we laugh at things and we know that my mom and dad do not approve of. But hey man, she's the eldest. I'm the baby, so take it up with her. So it's in those super duper dark moments, I definitely lean in to my loved ones. Cause you know, at the end of the day, we're all we got. And I don't try to like burden them with everything. Like I'm really grateful for my therapist as well. But yeah, lean to my loved ones and figure out how I can be of service to them. Um, you know, like hang out with my cousins and my cousins' kids. You know, tutor them in their homework. You know, stuff like that. Uh, just to break up the monotony, because it's very easy to get into like that loop of just negative self-talk and negative thinking and more negative self-talk, and it's hopeless and why do I even try? Blah blah blah. That's easy. Uh, so I yeah try to just break it up by uh listening to some good music, watch something silly, hang out with my family, talk to my friends, play some video games. You know, we got options, man. Like some what's it called? Retail therapy. Buy a lot of shoes. Buy a lot of shoes. Gotta buy more. You know what I'm saying? Like, why not? Why not? Life's too short, man. Uh, yeah. Did I answer your question?
That was perfect. So, since I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, I started to learn the signs of when I've become manic. But the signs of when I become depressed, I still can't recognize. So, can you recognize the signs when you're starting to become depressed?
For sure.
Or
For sure.
what are some of the signs?
Stop taking care of myself. Like I'll go days without brushing my teeth. You know. Like I already have like mobility issues, so taking a shower is a lot of spoons, man. So I'll just put it off, you know, because due to my mobility issues and I haven't really been able to work, so I live at home with my family, and I'll tell myself, like, nobody's going to see me. I'm not about to leave the house. I don't need a shower. But in reality, I do need a shower, you know? Yeah, I'll start slipping up on taking care of myself, and that's not it, man. It's embarrassing. It feels embarrassing, but also it feels like, why? What's the point? Nothing ever changes. And then you get into that feedback loop, negative thinking, negative self-talk, you know? So sometimes I just gotta grit and like regardless of how I feel, gotta take care of myself, because I gotta be proud of who I am, and I gotta be proud of how I show up in the world.
So one of the things you mentioned was negative self-talk. One of the concepts I try to get people to understand that negative self-talk isn't always intentional. It sometimes just slips out. And what is a way to help people better understand that?
It's like it's that nagging voice in the back of your head that knows all your insecurities, and as soon as you mess up, it's like, see, I knew you were gonna do that. And I don't know. I used to use it as a motivator, no lie. Like I used to have such a chip on my shoulder, trying to prove myself to myself and to the world when I was younger. So I would talk really, really badly about myself in my head and out loud, try to be the nicest person, most helpful person, and as services as I could. All stemming from, I gotta prove that voice in my head wrong. And yeah, just like you said, it's not always intentional, but sometimes it's just it's like the knee jerk, you know? It's a knee jerk reaction, and like you said, you gotta recognize when it happens. And part of me growing was hearing it, recognizing it for what it was, and then reframing so I can take it easy on myself. Because I was super quick to blame myself for all my problems and stuff, And of course, I have a hand in everything, but there are a lot of things that are simply out of my control, and I can't be mad at myself for that. So why am I mad at myself? Like, there are just certain things I can't help, and I didn't design my life this way. God did, not me. So it's not up to me. There are certain things that are just not up to me. So finding a way to accept my reality has been hard, but I've learned to do it. I think the next step is getting other people to accept my reality. Stop blaming me for things that I can't control.
That leads me to my next two questions. The first one is, you touched on God made you this way.
Mm-hmm.
I was in church and the pastor mentioned, if you have depression, come up here and we're going to pray it away. And sometimes
Did it work?
I'm just, I'm just like,
Did it work?
that doesn't work all the time. I'm a strong believer in the Bible. You read, you pray.
Yeah.
But sometimes you gotta go to therapy. You gotta take some medication. You have to do some things in order for that depression to go away. You just can't pray it away. What would you say to those who would just say pray it away?
So, I should caveat by saying that I am the son of a pastor, and I grew up in a very religious household. I live in a very religious household, but I am not very religious. I personally think that God is the ultimate creator, and I think that's it. I think God just created everything, and everything else is random. And I know that that's for sure a point of contention with me and my family. But hey, man, I didn't give myself myositis. I didn't give myself an autoimmune disease. So if there's anybody to blame, I'm the creator. But again, it is what it is. I'm not mad at people for holding their mouths tight and praying as hard as they can, because life is crazy, man. Life's a trip. And there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, so if that's what helps you feel at ease, you gotta do what you gotta do. I'll never be mad at someone for being religious, man. Because I think I think people tend to forget that literally everybody is suffering. It's not just you. So how do they cope? That's how you cope. That's how you cope, man. I'm not mad at it, but you gotta do whatever you gotta do to get by. So I'd say talk to God if that's your thing, but also talk to therapists because they can help. And like I said before, zone love keeps the darkness at bay, bro. So shout out antidepressants. Uh, uh, yeah. For a long time I didn't want them, but why not? Why not? Let's see what like I feel better now that I take them. Like I don't think I'm any less sad. I'm just not as loud about it, you know. But it helps because being so sad that I can't get out of bed versus being sad but I got up and brushed my teeth today. At least I brushed my teeth, you know. And can't ruin this $1 million smile. Can't have that. You know? So knowing what you gotta do to maintain, to me, is the most important thing. And it doesn't have to, I really think it should be a combination of all these things. Just whatever works. I would say as long as you're not harming anybody, do whatever you gotta do. Yeah.
When I first started antidepressants, I was down in the valley, and I'm talking about like my son was visiting me in Richmond, and I would just be in the room crying all day. The mood stabilizer was working its way through my body, and it had me like, I've never felt so low.
Which one are you
And
on?
I'm on Lamictal as a mood stabilizer, but
Okay, I've heard
now
that
I'm
one.
on. I started Lexapro as my first
Oh,
antidepressant.
all right, heard that. Yeah.
Lexapro, it brought me a little too high, and because I was on Lamictal for so long, I was able to, like I said, I'm able to notice when I'm manic now, I noticed it brought me up too much, so we're able to adjust the dosage down to a normal level. Well, what we could
whatever,
call normal,
whatever that means,
whatever
right?
normal,
Yeah.
yes, whatever normal may be.
Yeah.
But that leads me to my next question. A lot of people are scared to take medications. They don't know who they'll become. They'll say, I don't need it. I'll be too happy. I just want to stay in the dumps. I don't want to change who I am. What would you say to help those people?
Well, first off, I'm gonna answer that question, but quick side about Lexapro. That was also the first antidepressant that I ever took, but I literally was shitting my pants. It was not. Come on, man. Like, I'm already sad. I'm already depressed, and now I got the mud. It just, I had no control over it. Like, so I was like, yo, please give me something else. Nah, man. No, I was on Lexapro for 3 days. Heck no. So that's when I started Zoma. Uh, it's crazy the side effects. But I think that's something that we should. I think that's something that we all should be like, upfront about, because it's meds. All meds have side effects. And it's important to recognize them. But I also feel like the upside of feeling like you are within your own head and your own skin again is worth it. I just think it's worth it. At least for me, I'm still who I am. I'm not. I just have a better way to maintain as I'm going through life, as opposed to feeling stuck or worse, spiraling. Spiraling also really sucks. So if meds stop you from doing that, I promise you, you will be grateful to yourself for it, and the people around you might not see it, but they'll be grateful to. So, yeah.
Yeah, I get a lot of support from my family and friends. I thought I wouldn't get from them. They're just like, no, we love you. And you're probably a little bit better off now. Um, because they probably noticed something was wrong. They probably just never had the words. And I never had the words as well. But I would have these periods of manic being hypomanic, being manic. And I would go months of just on these highs of hypersexuality, grandiosity, just thinking I rule the world. Then it's like I would run into a wall. I would lose interest in everything. I'm talking about if I was dating someone, I would just go cold turkey, just stop talking to them. And these were people I would really care about. I would say I love them. I would want to spend the rest of my life with them. And then I would just stop talking to them. Then like 2 or 3 weeks later, it's like nothing happened. A different woman, a different idea, spending more money, reckless decisions, indecisiveness, impulsivity. So, but a lot of people, they think depression looks like being manic. And one of the things I always try to explain to people is hypersexuality is not a sign of depression, right? Loss of interest is a sign of depression. So how can someone who is dealing with a depressive disorder share their symptoms of depression with someone when people already have the mind made up what depression looks like?
You know, I think all you can do is say your piece and hope that they listen. And I feel like that's the biggest thing when it comes to any form of ableism at all. Just like you said, people have an idea of what disabilities look like and what the disabled people need. And as well intentioned as it may be, you know, unless there's somebody in the room with you who can actually speak to that experience, you may be making assumptions. So I think just ask the people if they're willing to share. And yeah, just hope that they listen, because all you can do is tell your truth. That's it.
Yeah, I've always found it hard personally to share my truth with people, and out of fear of judgment, I am very much a mental health advocate. I believe in being honest with my story, but still there are times when I struggle to get that across. I feel like I'm very selective with what I share from my story. I could be more open, and part of the podcast is to share other stories, but as well as share my story mixed in. And part of that is being a black man in a society where black men have to be strong, not as strong as black women have to be. That's unfortunate, but black men still have to be strong. Black people in general have to look that we're stronger than everybody else for some reason. So as a black man who we're looked at as stoic and silent and strong and all these stereotypical things that, I got to be honest with you, I don't fit. Like if I need something done around the house, I'm calling someone. Like I'm calling someone to hang up some photos. Like I can't, like I'm just not doing it. I like cutting grass, and that's a extent of my yard work and chores I like doing, is cutting grass. So, given the stereotypes around black men and mental health, how can we break down some of those walls?
Well, to your point, like now that I have all this muscle loss, like I can't help with chores anyway, you know? So I have to rely on people, and that was a hard pill to swallow for sure, because I was always a very independent person. I don't like having to answer to people, and I like carving my own path. And now I'm in a position where like I can't, like I can feed myself, but I can't put food in the microwave. You know, like I have to ask for help. I have to rely on the people around me. Um, so as much as I hate it, asking for help when you need it. Um, because like I said before, like all you can do is speak your own truth. That's it at the end of the day. And if you need help, you need help. And you know, if you're not gonna hang in front of us, find somebody that is, because the worst possible scenario is you hang those photos yourself, and then they fall, and now you gotta explain to everybody why the wall has a big old scratch. Can't have that. You know what I'm saying? No, no, no. Not in my home, not in my domicile. Uh, yeah. So recognizing your own limits for sure, but yeah, admitting your own limits and knowing when you need to ask for help it sucks, no lie, but it's a good thing.
Yeah. Part of something I don't share is the fact I'm an amputee. I share that with some people. I actually wasn't comfortable talking about that until college. It happened when I was 9. Some friends found out along the way, but I lost the toes on my right foot. I had to learn to walk again. It was tough, especially as a kid. You want to run, you want to do things. It really limited my mobility and still does to an extent. I lose balance from time to time. And when we have some disabilities that are more hidden than some, it can take a toll on us. Like some of our mental health disabilities are more hidden than others, and we have some that are more visible than others. How do you feel those two interact? You have a more visible disability. Do people see that one and they push aside your depressive disorder, or do they take that into account when working with you?
Uh, I feel like all right. So the way I see it, I am 6 feet tall and I am handsome, and you should treat me as such. But because I'm sitting down, I am 3'5", and it's like, do not treat me like I am short and ugly, because I am neither of those things. Uh, so I say all that to say, uh, they see the wheelchair, uh, they assume that I am always going through it, blah blah blah. People assume that I am always unhappy. Like I've had so many people, again, just give me a pep talk when I didn't ask for one. People that I know, people that I don't know. You know, random strangers will come up to me and say, "Can I pray for you?" It's like, ma'am, I don't even know you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and as well intentioned as it is, that's really annoying. So, and that does take a toll because, like, you just never know what every new interaction, what what people may say, what odd, ridiculous, snide comment, you know? Um, and sometimes people don't realize what they're saying. I had a loved one tell me that I need to stop saying that I'm disabled. And if you can say you're disabled, then you're not disabled. And I'm sitting in a wheelchair. And I was like, my man, it's just a, what's it called? It's a fashionable accessory that I'm wearing. Silly me, you know? I had I have another loved one say that, your mindset's important. I think your mindset is more important than the medicine. So, all right, so me and my antidepressants have been wrong this whole time. I just need to think better about things and I'll get through it. You know? And again, well intentioned. They don't always mean what they say, but it takes a toll. It's really annoying. Um, I'm sure you've experienced things like that too. Um, so calling it out. If you got the spoons to do it, call it out. Or ignore it, you know? Whatever works that day. Sometimes I'd be tired of arguing. You got it. You know, like, yeah, you're right. You're right. It's my fault. Can we move on? Cause like sometimes it feels like I'm talking to a brick wall. Uh, so I can understand why you would say that sometimes you were hesitant about sharing your whole story because sometimes people just are not listening. So you're definitely like taking a chance by being vulnerable. Um, and there is a lot of good things that can come from being vulnerable, but it takes a lot of bravery, and it takes someone who's willing to play along. Not everybody is, you know.
Yeah, I've had friends tell me you are not your diagnosis. And I'm like, I know. I'm Gerron Scott the first. And for the sake of the podcast, I am 6'3", 215 with a six pack.
That's right.
Please don't look at me in real life.
Exactly.
But for the sake of the podcast, I'm going to describe myself as such. Oh,
Handsome.
but
Handsome.
and handsome. Can't forget and handsome.
That's right.
But, but you know, I think oftentimes we're not allowed to define disability for ourselves. They look at us from the moral model that they say you're disabled, let us help you, or you're disabled, you must be punished by God, or someone must have sinned. You're disabled, you can't do things for yourself. You're disabled, we're going to have to tiptoe around the fact that you have a disability. And that's just like, you don't have to do all that. We can see that we have a disability. It's not hidden, right? And we have some disabilities that are invisible, but we know we have those disabilities. It's not going to go away if we don't talk about it. And again, that's part of the reason why we're doing this podcast here. And I'm glad you agreed to be on it. It's because we're going to make these disabilities that are invisible to some become visible to all. And if it's talked about, they can't say we can't see it or we don't hear it. I have a few more questions for you. So have you found a place where you can be yourself, where you don't have to be strong all the time, where you can say, you know what, I can take off this mask?
Yeah. Shout out to the organization, Myositis Support and Understanding. There are so many support groups that they run, and I'm really loyal to one group in particular, young people with myositis. It's like ages 18 to 40. Everybody has myositis, a version of it. And I really lean into that group. Along with people have become my very closest friends because, people say that they understand, but they don't, you know? There's no one that understands my plight like those folks. So I'm very, very grateful to them. Yeah, for sure with them. And of course my loved ones, and they're mostly well vetted. Mostly. Yeah. What about you? You go to any support groups or anything?
My therapist is one, but I do have like some close friends that I may or may not call and cry sometimes too. But yeah, it is. I think it's so important just to find a group of people, even if it's one or two people where you can just talk to. It's for me. I don't know. It's so therapeutic just for people to say you can be yourself. Like I can be my clumsy 6'5". I said 6'2" earlier, huh?
6'7".
6'7", 6'5", full of muscles, self around people. And that's just my confident, borderline cocky self, and full of confidence, full of life and outgoing self around people. And I just love that. I love people who can bring out that side of me. I have two more questions. Second to last question is, what would you say to someone who might be going through a major depressive disorder or thinking about talking to a psychiatrist or a therapist about it?
Man, I'd say just do it. We gotta take care of ourselves, man, any way we can. I know that the systems that they have for us are far from perfect. And the matter of fact, they're much better run in other countries. That's a different conversation for a different day. The American healthcare system is so trash, but gotta use it. Gotta do what you gotta do to take care of yourself. Like, again, it's gonna take some bravery, but there's a lot of good that can come from it. A lot of good can come from it. And I would say that trying out as many therapists as you need to until you find somebody that you're real comfortable with, or trying out as many psychiatrists as you need. Cause it's like trying on shoes, man. Find one that fits, and be honest. Don't lie to your therapist. But yeah, I think it's worth it.
My final question before you ask me some questions is, what is your favorite 90s sitcom?
You know what we watch a lot in this house? Frasier.
Frasier, good one. That's a good one.
Frasier. Oh my. I can listen to Dr. Crane and Niles Crane bicker any day of the week. Holy moly. They're so dumb. They're so smart, but they're so dumb. Like, oh man. Yeah. What's yours?
Living Single, definitely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The, it's crazy because, one of my, this is a couple of years ago. One of my cousins went over. We were watching Living Single, and she was like, this isn't really accurate of being in your late 20s, early 30s. And I was like, as the resident person that doesn't have kids, it is if you don't have kids. And everybody was mad at me. Like, it's my fault. It is if you don't have kids. I love Living Single. Yeah, great choice. Oh, yeah. Oh, and shout out my man Overton from Cleveland, Ohio. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, yo, thank you for having me on here, man. I
Of
appreciate you
course.
reaching out.
Yeah, now's the time where I'm going to turn it over to you to see if you have any questions that you would like to ask me.
Well, I also podcast. I have a podcast called Implicitly Awkward, and similarly, I focus on rare diseases and disabilities, and I would love to have you on as a guest at some point if you're up to it.
Absolutely, and that's a good plug. Implicitly Awkward. Look
Yeah.
it up. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever else you get your podcast.
Yep. And follow us on Instagram. You mentioned you have a kid. How old is your child?
He is 14.
Man, where's the time go?
Oh my God. I don't know where it goes. He is the most amazing 14-year-old.
Yeah.
I just tell him all the time, just stay your amazing self. He's hardworking. He's smart, but I just tell him he's hardworking because I think telling kids they're smart can put too much pressure on them. So tell them they're hardworking. Like, we appreciate how hard you work, and we understand that your work ethic is what drives, what makes you successful.
Man. So, like, I have to imagine that you talk to your son about bipolar and the difference between being manic and being depressed. How has he received it, and what type of support does he give you?
Truthfully and honestly, I'm scared to talk to him about it.
Okay.
And I know that's not the answer that people want to hear, but
Hey,
that's
but
one of those
it's honest.
conversations where
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going to go, but I do worry it can be hereditary. And that scares me that my precious boy may wake up one day and have a manic episode. And that scares me to death. And I've spoken to his mom about it and to watch for signs, but I'm waiting for the right moment to have that conversation with him. But when that moment comes, I am going to sit him down and be like, hey, these are things you should be aware of. Stay away from alcohol, drugs. These are things that lead to manic episodes, things like that.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, again, I don't have kids of my own, but I know for a fact a main part of being a parent is just giving the kids the tools to be successful. Because you can't live their life for them, you know? Unfortunately, much as we want to. Like, cause, I don't have kids of my own, but I got a lot of little kids that I care about. And, you never want to see them in a bad position or struggling in any way. You never want that. Because I know what it feels like to struggle. I hated it, So, yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I hope that conversation goes well. I'm sure it will. But what's the album that you're listening to right now?
I love Olivia Dean. I'm not gonna lie.
She's great.
Brent Faiyaz's new album too. Them two are in heavy rotation. But Olivia Dean, I went to go to her concert. They were like $400 already. I'm like, it's her first tour. I think it's her first tour. And I'm just like, oh my God, why are these tickets so expensive? But Olivia Dean is phenomenal. Brent Faiyaz his albums are always dope. So them two albums are heavy in rotation.
Beautiful. I haven't listened to that Brent album, so thank you for reminding me. I will check that out. I will check that one out.
Awesome. Thank you again. I'm here with Marcus Owens. If anybody wants to reach you, how can they?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tribe Called Flex. My podcast is at Implicitly Awkward. Yeah. Thank you again for having me, and I hope me sharing my story can help inspire others to do the same, because, life's not going to get any easier, so might as well be honest about it.
That's our time in the garden today. If this conversation resonated with you, or if it helped you feel a little less alone in the fog, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. This has been Black and Diagnosed with Gerron Scott. If you'd like to contact me or share your story, you can reach me on Instagram at g.scott, GDOTSCOTT, or info@gerronscott.com. Make sure you subscribe to get the newest episodes when they drop. Be well, and I'll see you back in the garden soon.